thank you so much for joining us, sir. Please have a seat. So now, Jason, you are the founder of this whole thing?
That is alleged.
That is alleged. All right. Well, I mean,
That's
by
a
the
sexy
numbers,
answer.
there's probably a couple feds here. So let's get real.
I'm not confessing to anything.
So you had the wacky idea to...
The Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,399. Silver at $15.33. And Bitcoin is trading at $10,409. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, just hours after he brought the United States to the brink of war Thursday night by approving a military strike against Iran. President Donald Trump abruptly called off the attack before any missiles were fired. That's according to the New York Times, which reported that as late as 7 o'clock Thursday night, military and diplomatic officials were expecting a strike after intense discussions and debate at the White House among the president's top national security officials and congressional leaders. The Mind Unleashed reports that Iranian officials on Friday said Tehran received a message from Trump through Oman overnight, warning that a U.S. attack on Iran was imminent. Citing anonymous senior administration officials involved in or briefed on the plan to attack Iran, the Times reported it's not clear whether Trump simply changed his mind on the strikes or whether the administration altered course because of logistics or strategy. It was also not clear whether the attacks might still go forward. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Although the laws on the books are only rarely and selectively enforced, it's technically federally illegal to host a rave, thanks to Joe Biden. The Mind Unleashed reports that anyone involved with hosting a rave can be held legally and criminally responsible for anything illegal that takes place inside the party, thanks to a piece of legislation called the Reducing Americans' Vulnerability to Ecstasy, or RAVE Act. The bill was a pet project of then-Senator Joe Biden, and it became law in 2003, as rave culture was beginning to go mainstream in the U.S.
If I were governor of my state or mayor of my town, I would be passing new ordinances relating to stiff criminal penalties for anyone who held a rave. The promoter, the guy who owned the building. I would put the son of a gun in jail. I would change the law.
The bill was extremely unpopular and was struck down the first 2 times it was up for vote. Eventually, proponents of the bill changed its name to the Illicit Drug Anti-Proliferation Act, and they attached it to the Amber Alert bill, an entirely unrelated piece of legislation that proposed the establishment of a warning system for missing children. The separation of church and state in the United States has taken yet another blow, this time in Alabama. Republican Governor Kay Ivey has signed legislation allowing a Presbyterian church to perform state-like functions by establishing its own police force for its churches and schools. The law, which was approved during the most recent legislative session, permits the Birmingham-based Briarwood Presbyterian Church to establish a private law enforcement agency that would have the power to make arrests if crimes are committed on church grounds or on its private school campuses. The Mind Unleashed reports that officials at the church claim that such a private police force is needed to secure the church and the 2,000 students and faculty on the 2 private school campuses that it owns and operates. The law, set to come into effect this fall, allows the church to deploy the private law enforcement agency in the 2 counties where the church has its facilities, and grants the police the powers typically restricted to public police agencies. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Hamburglar urges a Senate subcommittee to rubble. This is Doyle Redland reporting. Hamburger advocate and convicted felon Hamburglar denounced a prison system he called rubble as he testified before the Senate subcommittee on penal reform. Hamburglar, convicted in 1998 of breaking and entering a McDonald's hamburger franchise in South Beloit, Wisconsin, and currently serving a sentence of 3 to 5 years, made this impassioned plea before being interrupted by U.S. Senator Bob Smith of Rhode Island.
Certainly there is room for improvement in our prison system, but I would hardly call the current situation rubble.
After delivering his message to the subcommittee, Hamburglar was promptly placed in chains and returned to prison to serve out the remainder of his sentence in solitary confinement. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
I have no idea how it fucking happened. Welcome to the Call to Freedom. It is Monday, June the 24th of 2019, and I am your host, as always, Arya DeMezzo, author of Dancing in Hellfire, which you can find on Amazon simply by searching for it. Joined in the studio, as always, by
Michael Hampton from BitcoinHistory.com. And yeah, it is Monday. We started the show off with a technical, little minor, one of the knobs was in the wrong place. But it's Monday.
The bigger issue was just the weird Windows 10 codec audio thing with one of the lexicon boxes that we have here, where I was trying to, about once a week, right, I spot check the podcast to make sure that everything is, doing as it should. I mean, It's an automated system, but you still have to check in on these things and make sure they're still functioning properly. Not checking in on these things is why calltofreedomlive.com is not, up right now. So I was just, checking the podcast, and all I heard was static. So I wasn't sure if the archive was screwed up or if it was something else. So I went to the YouTube video that we stream live at youtube.com/AryaDeMezzo, checked that. Same thing. Okay, well, that's two applications, so it's the lexicon thing. Disabled the audio device, re-enabled it. Everything started coming up again. So all good. I'm, able to fix that sort of thing. I've got to start invoicing my other job, though, because I fixed one of their computers Saturday night. Maybe, yeah, it was Saturday night. And it's like, you people really don't pay me enough for IT support. You really don't.
No, they don't.
I mean, the minimum I ever made at doing IT support was $20 an hour. The maximum was $65 an hour, but, that was when I was running the company, and, it's more about, making as much money as you can in 4 hours of work, because you've got to do 10 hours of work in order to get that 4 hours of work, and it's the only way to make things break even. I think on average it actually came out to about $17 per hour in any given week. It was fun, though. I enjoyed it. I would like to get back into it, honestly, but I'm just not being pulled in that direction these days. I think the tech support ability is coming in handy now.
Yeah, it's good to know how to fix a computer.
I mean, it definitely is. Their issue actually isn't even computer related. It's that their public Wi-Fi network and their public, I mean, obviously, this is it's not a corporate place, but it's a business place. So they've got 3 different networks in place. One of them is the public Wi-Fi. One of them is the employee Wi-Fi that isn't secure, and the rest is the internal Wi-Fi the internal network that, we don't want customers and employees on.
Right.
Well, the one that services the employee network, the DHCP server, the router, it's an all-in-one box, obviously. They usually are, is actually not assigning IP addresses.
Nice.
Yeah, and I don't know what its IP address is in order to go in and make it work, right? Because I could just set that manually.
Mm-hmm. That you could.
Yeah,
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
That is exactly how I fixed it Saturday. But, you know, and it's such a simple problem, but the ability to be able to sit down at the computer that doesn't have, because only one of the computers inside the building is actually on that network. So being able to sit down at a computer that doesn't have internet and trace the problem to a network device and then fix that network device, that's not cheap. You know,
it's not.
That's a lifetime of experience. Well, not a lifetime, but that's a decade of experience in all of that working together, all of which is kind of expensive.
Yeah, the expensive part is not pushing the buttons. It's knowing which buttons to push and when.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So, I mean, that all got resolved. And it was an issue for me because that's the computer that we use Spotify on.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no music until I fixed it. Well, there was music, but they had to plug their phones into the audio system, and which I'm surprised they're able to manage that, right?
Yeah.
Actually, one of my coworkers isn't. She plugs the 1/8-inch headphone jack into the microphone input on the actual audio box. It's a sound system of some description, I don't know, but she plugs it into the completely wrong place, and it's just hilarious watching somebody be so inept. And in their early 20s, it's like, how do you not know the difference between a microphone input and a headphone input?
You just don't grow up with the stuff. It's easy to get to adulthood. I mean,
she's 24, so she certainly grew up with it.
What is this, 2019? Well, maybe.
I mean, what is that? 95? Born in 95?
Yeah, 95.
Yeah. Surely anyway, so it's all good. I really want to play a video game. I really, really do. But I don't have the time. And that's been driving me nuts. I don't even know what I want to play. I just want to play something. And that's sort of the issue I run into when I do have like an hour to kill or something like that. I'm like, okay, well, what do I want to play? And then I sit there looking at the 150 games in my Steam library, the 2,000 ROMs I have illegally downloaded, trying to find one of these things that I actually want to spend time doing, and I end up just wasting 45 minutes and then
just trying to decide.
Yeah, then watch South Park or something. Little 6-year-old me hates adult me. Little 6-year-old me would have killed to have this sort of selection. I'm just like, meh. Which one of these do I want to play? None of them. So anyway, in the news, there's still the Iran stuff going on. The government is just sort of hell-bent on justifying some sort of war against Iran. And of course, the Fed, Donald Trump wants it to do stuff, and it's not cooperating. He wants it to cut interest rates, which is interesting because I thought that the Fed was moving in the direction of increasing interest rates.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, because it's been more than a decade since the so-called Great Recession, and they've hardly had any interest rate rises in that time.
Well, it's definitely a problem. Of course, low interest rates make it easier for other banks and, people to get loans, which causes more inflation because of the fractional reserve system that we have in place. So this is like Trump saying, hey, you're not making my money worthless quickly enough. I want you to do it faster.
It's a little strange.
And the Fed is like, we think we should probably do it slower. And I'm like, you know what? You should probably not use an inflationary currency. That would be a better solution.
Yeah, well, they'll never go for that because they benefit from inflation.
Well, they may go for that if Facebook has their way. Fedbook. That's what we should call it.
Fedbook?
Fedbook. They want to be the digital Fed for all intents and purposes. Of course, how would a fractional reserve cryptocurrency even work? Now, this is a terrible idea, and I don't want anyone even attempting this.
Oh, this is how it would work. See, the Libra, which is Facebook's new so-called cryptocurrency, is supposed to be backed one-to-one by this so-called basket of currencies or assets or whatever.
Well, it's not that simple any longer. It's going to be backed by Facebook's bank deposits, effectively. Mm-hmm. So how much money they have in the bank in various currencies is what backs it.
So to make it fractional reserve, all they have to do is issue more Libra than they have deposited in the bank.
Yep, you are absolutely correct. That's a terrible idea. I would not be surprised, though, if Facebook were to do exactly that.
Of course, word about that's going to get out, and then the value of a Libra will drop.
Yeah, as it should. Well, the value of the Libra is going to be such an interesting thing. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to buy some Libra. It is a really good investment. It's a terrible idea, and I don't want it to be successful. But I'm just jaded enough to know that it's going to be, and I'm going to get out while the getting is good.
Yeah. grab some while they're cheap and dump it before Facebook ruins it.
Yep, and hodl it. Well, I don't know how long. I mean, it's coming out as a bad idea. It's coming out ruined, right?
Right.
So I don't know if they could actually ruin it worse than what it already is, because it's already just terrible. Although I'm shocked to hear that the source code has been released for it. We talked about that Friday.
Yeah, it has.
That's amazing. I would not expect that from Facebook.
Developer documentation, everything.
Yeah, that's well, I don't know. I guess it sort of is in line with Facebook's, hey, we have this information, we have to give it away to everyone mentality, because, I mean, they certainly do that with our information. But the rumor is that, Facebook is making a cryptocurrency, and it seems pretty much a confirmed rumor at this point. I don't know if Facebook themselves has actually spoken about it, but people within Facebook have leaked it. And it's not going to be good. I mean, buy it and hodl it and then sell it for a profit, but don't use it. Stay away from it other than that. This is the Call to Freedom.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Of course, you're invited to give us a call. That number is 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. Now, Trump is really the king of being a stubborn child, really. I mean, when he doesn't get his way, he shuts down the government, which, I mean, in a sense is good. I like it when the government doesn't do things. But, I mean, he is a crying, screaming child.
Well, he's always been.
And he's accusing the Fed of being a screaming, petulant child, which is sort of...
That's also childish.
It is. Yeah, it definitely is. So the Federal Reserve's brief 4-day respite from criticism by President Donald Trump ended abruptly Monday when the president tweeted that the central bank was acting like a stubborn child for refusing to cut interest rates last week. Now, I don't follow Donald Trump on Twitter, but I can't imagine he actually mentions the Fed very often.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. Trump on Twitter that's more of a train wreck sort of entertainment.
In 2 tweets early Monday morning, because that's America now. Policy gets tweeted on Twitter. The president said the Fed doesn't know what it is doing. Now they stick like a stubborn child when we need rate cuts and easing. Yeah, because the first 4 quantitative easings had no effect, really.
Yeah, they did nothing but prolong the pain.
The day after the Fed's decision on Wednesday, Trump had sounded more or less sanguine about the Fed's decision to hold off from a rate cut, saying, "You can't win them all." And then on Monday, the president was back to his favorite theme of his criticism of Fed Chairman Jerome Powell. Didn't he appoint Jerome Powell?
Yeah, I think he did.
That the Fed's rate hikes and quantitative tightening quashed what would have been an economic miracle engineered by his tax cut plan. In his tweet, Trump learned the Fed's policy stance, large-scale tightening, termed. I don't know why I read it as learned. Okay, so in his tweet, Trump said that the policy stance was large-scale tightening and said economic growth last week would have been above 4% or 5%, leading to thousands of points higher on the Dow if the central bank had behaved like other central banks. Now, Bitcoin is up, significantly up. In fact, I believe Bitcoin hit $11,000 in the last few
over the weekend,
hours.
It hit 11,000, and I'm not sure exactly what it is right now. But
at any rate, it's up about, I would say off the top of my head, about 30% since we left for ForkFest. Which, speaking of ForkFest, the Female Fest planning is going beautifully. We've now got a group on Trello and Telegram all working together to plan this event. It's going to be awesome, and I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, ForkFest, it seemed like we left and Bitcoin was about $8,000. Hadn't been really doing anything spectacular, but hadn't crashed or anything like that. It had been relatively stable for some period of time.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at a chart from the last month. Right now, I've got 10,923. At a month ago, it was around 8,000, gain of 34% over the last month.
Awesome. So I was pretty much spot on then. Beautiful. And, of course, that's all great news. Bitcoin going up means also that Bitcoin Cash, Monero, Zcash, and other cryptocurrencies are going up. I am slowly moving more and more away from all cryptocurrencies that do not have shielded transactions or some sort of advanced privacy feature built into them, like Monero, Zcash, Horizon, and these others, because as I use cryptocurrency more and more, I become kind of uncomfortable with how the information is just 100% completely publicly available. Now, even this is a problem, and it relies on the trust network within Changelly for them to not reveal my information, because the easiest way, rather, to get Monero is to acquire something simpler like Bitcoin Cash or something like that.
And go to Changelly or Shapeshift.
Not Shapeshift.
But not Shapeshift.
Shapeshift has admitted to releasing information to the feds.
Yeah, and they started collecting that information a few months ago.
Yeah, and once they implemented KYC, it was over.
Yeah,
Screw
you're done.
Shapeshift. They do have lower fees than Changelly, but you're selling your soul by using them, and I'm good on that.
Yeah, you're doing a deal with the devil.
So, Changelly sucks too, but as far as I'm aware, they're not actively working with the federal government.
Changelly has never asked me for my personal info.
No, they have not. I believe all they do is they take your wallet address. They have your wallet address, obviously, and they convert that, and then they send the cryptocurrency to a new wallet address for you. I don't think they actually have anything on you beyond that.
Yeah, that's about maybe your IP address.
Possibly. But I mean, you can shield that with VPNs and stuff like that, so that's doable. But the only real way to achieve this now is to constantly create new wallets in Coinami, because that's the easiest way to create a new wallet is with Coinami. Edge, you have to create an account and stuff like that. It's doable, but it's more tedious, right? My Edge wallet is more my permanent wallet. My Coinami is the one that I will delete and recreate as often as necessary. So send Bitcoin Cash to this Coinami wallet that has only existed for 10 minutes. I will send it to Changelly and get the Monero sent to somewhere else, or the Zcash sent to somewhere else. And then I can just delete that Bitcoin Cash address entirely from Coinami by deleting the entire wallet and creating a new one. Because otherwise, with these HD wallets and things like that, they do have ways to figure out that, hey, these 26 HD addresses, these rotating addresses, are all actually tied to a single specific wallet. So eliminate that problem altogether by just getting a new 14-word thing and
nuke the whole wallet.
Yeah, nuke the whole thing. That's the only way that I have found to actually acquire, Monero or Zcash in a relatively private way. And not that I even need the privacy, I just don't like the idea of all of my transactions being 100% publicly available and ultimately traced back to me.
Well, the thing about these precautions is that if you don't take them now, by the time you start taking them, it might be too late, because they can go back to
That's
years
true as
ago.
well. Yeah, I mean, they can go back to the beginning of the blockchain.
Right.
And that's the issue with Shapeshift and, keeping the same wallet addresses, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it will lead to the situation where, okay, Shapeshift knows that they got Bitcoin Cash from this specific block of HD addresses that were derived from this 14-word passphrase or whatever, and they sent Monero to this address. So Shapeshift has that information to say, okay, well, this Monero address clearly belongs to this same person. Well, there goes your anonymity right there, because it ultimately traces back to Bitcoin Cash, which traces right back to you because there's zero privacy in it.
Yeah, goodbye.
It is at least usable as a currency, though. I love Bitcoin Cash. It's great. It's so much better than Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'll buy hamburgers with it.
Yep, and it's not inflationary. So screw the Fed. This is the call to freedom.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com. This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom and the Rational Review News Digest, located at rationalreview.com, is the Freedom Movement's daily news digest, aggregating stories from all over the internet that are of interest to libertarians and to liberty-minded people. They include podcasts, videos, news articles, and are now our source for people to receive the Call to Freedom's podcasts. So be sure to check them out. Again, that's rationalreview.com. Now, moving on, Trump is announcing more sanctions against Iran, and I've noticed a lot of people seem sort of happy about this, which is confusing to me because sanctions are not an alternative to war. They are a prelude to war.
No, they're the opening shots.
Yeah. President Trump announced new sanctions against Iran Monday, in part to retaliate after the downing of a U.S. drone last week, with the punitive measure set to target Iran's supreme leader, military officials, and its top diplomat, Foreign Minister Javad Zarif. Now, this is not the way tariffs work, which thankfully plenty of people have pointed out. You're not actually going to affect Iran's supreme leader or military officials or its top diplomat.
Nope, this is going to affect the ordinary person on the street.
Yep. Speaking to reporters in the Oval Office, Trump said he signed an executive order imposing hard-hitting sanctions on Iran. I don't think the president has the constitutional authority to impose trade restrictions.
99% of what they do is not constitutional.
Good point. He's at hard-hitting sanctions on Iran that will deny Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. I don't know. I'd have to ask Will, and Will isn't here. His office and many others access to financial instruments. Well, they can still use Bitcoin.
Yep.
They don't, but they could.
They definitely could.
Actually, wasn't there a story about North Koreans using cryptocurrency to elude U.S. sanctions?
I hadn't heard that one.
I seem to recall there was one.
I just hadn't heard it.
Today's actions follow a series of aggressive behaviors by the Iranian regime in recent weeks, including shooting down of U.S. drones, Trump said.
Wait just a second. Shooting down the drone is aggressive behavior? No, flying the drone is aggressive behavior.
Yeah, surrounding Iran with military bases was aggressive behavior.
Yeah, taking down their government in 1953 was aggressive behavior.
It's amazing the sort of insanity that statists and nationalists operate in. And I'm not saying that Donald Trump is any more nationalistic than anyone else, but absolutely that's nationalism. This idea that, the United States can do all of this stuff that it's been doing and Iran has to sit there and take it, or Iran is being aggressive, is absolutely nationalism.
No, it's just the bully blaming the victim.
That's exactly what it is. The supreme leader of Iran is one who ultimately is responsible for the hostile conduct of the regime. No, I think who's responsible for this was you, Trump, from backing out of the Iranian agreement.
That's true. He did.
He's respected within his country. His office oversees the regime's most brutal instruments, including the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Now that right there, what did they tell us about Iraq just preceding Operation Desert Storm? It was the elite Republican Guard.
Yeah,
that's what they told us.
Yeah.
And they told us that, these were super soldiers. They were so brutal. They were going to be so difficult. And they made these people up. These people didn't exist, right? They're 10 feet tall desert warriors. They spit nails. They didn't exist. Now, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps may in fact exist. I don't know. But that's not going to really matter in the grand scheme of things. They're going to continue pointing at them and saying, oh, these are the bad guys, until they finally get the invasion that they're beating the drums of war for. Now, there was a website that we found during the course of the show several months ago, may have even been a year ago, from some Zionist website with an advertisement at the top: buy your tickets to World War III, get ready to invade Iran. And of course, you've had Netanyahu going before the United Nations with this stupid little Wile E. Coyote bomb, all of them attempting to beat the drums of war with Iran.
I just read a headline today saying Israel wants a war with Iran.
Well, yeah, and they have. They've wanted one for a very long time. And thankfully, we haven't yet had one, but the best thing I could recommend for the people of Iran is to just get the hell out now.
If you can.
Because the United States is coming. It might be a month from now. It might be a day from now. It might be a year from now. But they've been doing this for such a very long time that there is nothing Iran could do to avoid a military invasion at this point. It's going to happen.
It certainly looks like it's coming.
So CNN's Frederick Pleitgen, speaking from Iran, said the state-backed press agency IRNA was denouncing the move as a sign of America's desperation. Well, that's a bit
Desperation.
propagandic.
Just a bit.
And Zarif took to Twitter to blast Iran hawks he calls the B team. National Security Advisor John Bolton, the Crown Prince of Saudi. Okay. He doesn't mean Iran hawks. He means American hawks. That's very confusing, CNN.
Yeah, I got a little lost there.
So Zarif took to Twitter because that's what people freaking do now. Whenever there's anything, we got to take this to Twitter. God, I hate this world so much. I quit. I'm firing myself as of right now.
Twitter's where all the journalists are, so you have to take to Twitter.
This is not journalism. This is random, borderline incoherent madness. It's now clear that the hashtag B team. Oh, dear God, are we really debating the terms of war on Twitter using hashtags?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Because that's what the world's come to. I mean,
this is so depressing. I'm a millennial, and I'm looking at this going, how can this be happening?
How do we get to this point?
Would Trump please pick up a phone and call Zarif instead of tweeting at him? Or maybe Zarif pick up the phone and call Donald Trump. Maybe.
Phone? People don't call each other anymore.
Maybe, just maybe. Well, even text him. Just send him a text then. That's fine. Or an email. I don't care. But let's get off of Twitter where you sort of have the entire world watching you and you have to be this big tough guy who doesn't back down because this crap is going to get us into war. And that's not good. Well, if Zarif wants Iran to be invaded, then that's the point. He says that Donald Trump is 100% right, that the U.S. military has no business in the Persian Gulf. I have not heard Trump say any such thing at any point in his career.
Yeah, me either.
Removal of its forces is fully in line with the interests of U.S. and the world. I would wholeheartedly agree. But it's now clear that the freaking hashtag B team is not concerned with U.S. interests. They despise diplomacy and thirst for war. Well,
there's a lot of money to be made in war.
He's 100% right. That is the case here. I just wish it wasn't happening on Twitter. Using hashtags. My penis is hashtag bigger penis. I mean, that's going to be the world in like another 10 years. It's going to be that we're just going to have the president of Iran and America tweeting back and forth, hashtag bigger penis.
And emojis.
Yeah, until one of them actually posts a penis pic.
Oh, please, no.
Well, Stormy Daniels went into great lengths about the size and shape of Donald Trump's penis. So in a sense...
I ignored that.
Yeah,
I don't want to know.
I did too. Apparently, though, it was mushroom-shaped. So, yeah. So speaking to reporters after Trump's announcement, someone said that the new sanctions would lock up literally billions of dollars of assets. Yeah, and that's how we're going to end up in war because they don't like it when their assets are locked up. Of course, they can use cryptocurrency, and that's what I would recommend. Because they can't lock up or seize your cryptocurrency until Facebook gets its way with Libra. This is the call to freedom.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
The CEO of Dollar Tree unveils the long-rumored foil baking pan. A new donor liver complains about the difficulty of working with Lou Reed. And a local couple keeps their marriage together for the sake of no one. We'll keep this as quick and painless as possible. This is the Onion Week in Review. A study published this week in the Journal of Financial Economics found that 83% of gamblers quit right before they would have hit the big one. Researchers confirmed that roughly 8 out of 10 gamblers who walked away from slot machines, poker games, horse races, roulette, and other games were consistently just a single stake away from winning it all, and unknowingly gave up a lifetime of fortune by quitting prematurely.
Our study proved that subjects who closed an online poker session, walked away from a slot machine, or even gave up gambling altogether would have won millions of dollars in the next bet. Also, people who walk away after hitting it big are missing out on a chance to make more money. I mean, when you're hot, you're hot.
In other news, an Asian guy has a separate group of Asian friends, and a vain Galapagos tortoise tries to pass for 90.
This is the Onion News Network.
Live video of our Keene, New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. And if you've ever wanted to have sex with prostitutes and then arrest them, or bust people for drugs and then sell the drugs on the side for a nice little bonus, or just, in general, enjoy the power rush of being a cop without all the paperwork, then you should try the Thin Blue Line game, which you can find at thinbluelinegame.com. It's the only card game in the world that allows you to shoot someone over a broken taillight and then escape accountability with the magical phrase, "I feared for my life." Typical cop stuff. Get it now at thinbluelinegame.com. Assault and battery is not included. But for a limited time, you can use the coupon code CTF to have all shipping costs waived. So go get it. Again, that's thinbluelinegame.com. Now, the Supreme Court has done a thing, evidently. They dealt a setback to Freedom of Information Act advocates, ruling that the term confidential can be interpreted broadly to allow the government to withhold from disclosure under FOIA private businesses' financial or commercial data in the government's possession, even if the disclosure of that information would not cause any harm to the businesses. That was the longest sentence I have ever read in a 2019 journalistic article.
Yeah,
it was also not exceptionally clear what exactly they're referring to, but the ruling came in a case concerning food stamps, in which a South Dakota newspaper had sought data from the Department of Agriculture on the number of stores participating in the federal food stamp program and store-by-store data on the amount of purchases made using food stamps.
Okay, reasonable.
Writing for a 6-3 court, Justice Neil Gorsuch sided with a trade association representing grocery retailers, holding that FOIA does not require disclosure of such information as long as the business labels it as confidential and provides it to the government under an assurance of privacy. So businesses are the ones who now get to say what is and isn't confidential.
Yeah, nice.
So, I mean, that's pretty much verbatim fascism, isn't it? That businesses can just label things confidential and the government goes, nope, even though we're the ones paying for it and this entire thing is a product of government, it's technically not government, so we don't have to do it.
Yeah, that's pretty fascist to me.
That's a nice way of getting around the Freedom of Information Act. Gorsuch wrote that at least where commercial or financial information is both customarily and actually treated as private by its owner and provided to the government under an assurance of privacy, the information is confidential and fits within the exemption. Now, this is absolutely absurd. It sounds to me like the newspaper was attempting to just find out how much food stamp usage there was in their state.
Right.
And
they want it broken down by specific grocery stores.
And that's probably a good thing for the people of their state to know, since the people of their state are being taxed, robbed, to pay for this nonsense.
Yeah, they should at least know what's going on.
But they're not allowed to because the businesses in question go, oh, no, this is confidential financial information. We don't want the American people to know just how much they're being robbed to line our pockets with money. So this is a massive blow to the public's right to know how its tax dollars are being spent and who is benefiting, said Argus Leader News Director Corey Myers. Regardless, we will continue to fight for government openness and transparency as always. The only way to have transparency in government is to throw rocks at it until it's dead. That's the government.
Big rocks.
Not any individuals. Don't throw rocks at people. Just the idea of government and all of its buildings, burn them. So FOIA requires the government to make information available to the public upon request, but there is a list of exemptions. Monday, the majority defined confidential to include information that is both customarily and actually treated as private by its owner and provided to the government under an assurance of privacy. Now, this means...
The data about how food stamps are used in your state is private.
This means that any information that the government has and considers to be confidential, customarily and actually, that the government treats as private information is, according to their definition, hereby confidential and does not have to be provided to the American people upon a FOIA request.
Yeah, that ruling is going to go a lot farther than they think it will.
The dissenters objected, saying there should be a requirement that the disclosure would cause harm, which seems at least better, but I don't think the government should be allowed to have secrets in the first place. Yeah, this is how you end up with things like MK Ultra and, Operation Paperclip and that kind of nonsense.
There's actual things that happened.
Yep, and there was Operation Northwoods, which thankfully was never actually carried out. But, there was also the federal government in, I think it was Alabama, not treating men for syphilis. Unlike popular belief.
Didn't they actually give the men syphilis?
They did not. That's the myth. The reality is that they were there to treat syphilis and actually just gave them placebos. So they died unnecessarily. Horrific deaths that could have been avoided, but the government was giving them sugar. So Justice Stephen Breyer, joined by some other people, wrote that in order for the information to be exempted, it must also cause genuine harm to the owner's economic or business interests. Breyer said that he feared the majority's decision will deprive the public of information for reasons no better than convenience, skittishness, or bureaucratic inertia. Well, yeah.
That pretty much covers it.
I mean, anything they say, this is normally treated like private information is hereby confidential and exempt from FOIA requests.
Yeah, they will stretch this out so that it covers everything, and you will not be able to find out anything your government is doing that they don't want you to know.
No, that's like the broadest definition they could possibly have used. Now, this is Gorsuch, the conservative champion, right? He's a neocon. That's what this is all about. I mean, he is a neocon, and this is a neocon position to take. No, the government needs to keep it secret. FOIA? What? We don't need no FOIA? Let's get this out of here. Everything can be denied under a Freedom of Information Act request.
Yeah, you don't need to know how much of your tax money is going where, and you certainly don't need to know about all the people we're killing.
Nope. But, at some point, I do need to use a Freedom of Information request to find out just what the government says about me. Because I would laugh endlessly if there is even a file on me, and I'm sure there is at this point.
You actually can request your file from the FBI. They have a process for it.
I know, I just haven't thought about it in a position where I'm actually available to do it. Like right now, I'm thinking about it, but I'm in the middle of a show, so I can't do it at this exact moment, but I would love to see it. I suspect, they don't actually tell people anything that's useful.
Yeah, probably not.
But I would love to know it nonetheless. Unfortunately, that's not the case here in the United States. The government keeps its secrets. And I don't know how anyone could possibly trust a government that executed Project MKUltra and continues to keep secrets to this day.
Yeah, come on. Who shot JFK?
Well, it probably wasn't Oswald.
They were supposed to release a whole bunch of documents, what was it, earlier this year? And they said, oh, well, no, we're not doing that.
Nope. I'm not surprised. I don't know what happened with the JFK assassination. I really don't. But the simple laws of physics do not allow for, the bullet to have been traveling the trajectory that it came from.
That's why they call it magic.
It is a magic bullet indeed. It almost certainly came from the grassy knoll, where 57 eyewitnesses testified to hearing gunshots and seeing leaves blow out from the trees as though by a gunshot. But hey, I wasn't there.
Yeah, I wasn't there either.
And I don't know why they would have killed JFK in the first place, except that, he sort of got on the, on the television and started talking about, the military-industrial complex and this...
Getting out of Vietnam?
Yeah, and this secret group of people that was working to undermine democracy and freedom and free speech and all of these other things that, we kind of like, we pretend to like here in the United States. And eventually they were just like, you know what, I think we need to kill this dude.
And he decided not to assassinate Castro.
He did, yeah.
I mean, they had all kinds of reasons to go after him.
He decided to assassinate Castro, so an avowed communist was angry and shot him? This doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah,
because Oswald was a communist, wasn't he? He was a member of the Communist Party.
Something like that, yeah.
But, he may have, in fact, just been a Fed. He did have ties to the American government. I don't remember now what those ties were.
Yeah, I don't either.
But maybe it was with the FBI or something, or maybe the CIA.
Oh, I'd have to look it up again.
Yeah, and I don't care enough to look it up again. But certainly, that's one secret that, we're never going to have the answer to.
If you know who killed JFK, give us a call.
Yeah, because the government goes, it was a magic bullet. And Americans go, oh, okay, well, we can go back to sleep then. Everything is fine. Our government has it under control. Let's watch American Gladiators and Game of Thrones. This is the Call to Freedom.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,399. Silver at $15.33, and Bitcoin is trading at $10,409. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, just hours after he brought the United States to the brink of war Thursday night by approving a military strike against Iran, President Donald Trump abruptly called off the attack before any missiles were fired. That's according to the New York Times, which reported that as late as 7 o'clock Thursday night, military and diplomatic officials were expecting a strike after intense discussions and debate at the White House among the president's top national security officials and congressional leaders. The Mind Unleashed reports that Iranian officials on Friday said Tehran received a message from Trump through Oman overnight, warning that a U.S. attack on Iran was imminent. Citing anonymous senior administration officials involved in or briefed on the plan to attack Iran, the Times reported it's not clear whether Trump simply changed his mind on the strikes or whether the administration altered course because of logistics or strategy. It was also not clear whether the attacks might still go forward. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Although the laws on the books are only rarely and selectively enforced, it's technically federally illegal to host a rave, thanks to Joe Biden. The Mind Unleashed reports that anyone involved with hosting a rave can be held legally and criminally responsible for anything illegal that takes place inside the party, thanks to a piece of legislation called the Reducing Americans' Vulnerability to Ecstasy, or RAVE Act. The bill was a pet project of then-Senator Joe Biden, and it became law in 2003, as rave culture was beginning to go mainstream in the U.S.
If I were governor of my state or mayor of my town, I would be passing new ordinances relating to stiff criminal penalties for anyone who held a rave. The promoter, the guy who owned the building. I would put the son of a gun in jail. I would change the law.
The bill was extremely unpopular and was struck down the first 2 times it was up for vote. Eventually, proponents of the bill changed its name to the Illicit Drug Anti-Proliferation Act, and they attached it to the Amber Alert Bill, an entirely unrelated piece of legislation that proposed the establishment of a warning system for missing children. The separation of church and state in the United States has taken yet another blow, this time in Alabama. Republican Governor Kay Ivey has signed legislation allowing a Presbyterian church to perform state-like functions by establishing its own police force for its churches and schools. The law, which was approved during the most recent legislative session, permits the Birmingham-based Briarwood Presbyterian Church to establish a private law enforcement agency that would have the power to make arrests if crimes are committed on church grounds or on its private school campuses. The Mind Unleashed reports that officials at the church claim that such a private police force is needed to secure the church and the 2,000 students and faculty on the 2 private school campuses that it owns and operates. The law, set to come into effect this fall, allows the church to deploy the private law enforcement agency in the 2 counties where the church has its facilities, and grants the police the powers typically restricted to public police agencies. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
I mean, it's just so hard to believe that it's really all gone.
It was in this living room 3 weeks ago that the Talbot family discovered their DVR had suddenly and inexplicably crashed, deleting more than 5 years' worth of recorded live events and miniseries.
I keep having flashbacks to that day, to that moment when I realized everything was gone.
You know, you hear stories about people who mismanage their device settings, but you never really think it could happen to you. Honestly, it feels like some sort of a dream. Like, when I wake up, I'll be able to just go downstairs, turn on the TV, and all the episodes will be there again, as if nothing had ever happened.
Friends and family of the Talbots have pledged their support, organizing DVD donations and offering passwords to online streaming services while the family struggles to move on.
We know that we'll never be able to replace all the hours of programming that we had, but I think in the end we'll be just fine. As long as we have our 5 seasons of Seinfeld on DVD.
This is the Onion News Network.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. As always, I'm your host, Ari Demezzo. Don't go anywhere. I'm on Free Talk Live on Monday nights, so definitely tune in for that. God, this has been really sloppy. I need to stop doing things while I'm trying to talk.
Do you even know what hour it is?
Yes, it is 5 o'clock.
Okay.
I am good at knowing what time it is on most occasions until it's like 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm drunk like I was at 5 o'clock this morning. Actually, I wasn't even drunk because I only had like 2 Long Island iced teas. That's not even enough to get me buzzed. But yeah, so it's a very different show. Tune into it. I was actually just out there talking with Mark about various possibilities regarding Free Talk Live. It's on tonight, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just after Call to Freedom, so don't go anywhere. Joined in the studio, as always, by
Michael Hampton from CryptoTip.org.
And there's stuff going on. We didn't talk about like any news last week. We were only here for like 2 days last week. One of those, well, 3 technically. One of those days was broadcast from ForkFest, which is happening next year. I'm going to keep talking about it all the time between now and then because that's the mark of a good festival, I think. When you immediately get back and you're like, all right, let's plan the next one. Yep. Now, obviously, this momentum is going to die out because I'm a pretty busy person. It's not like I'll be actively planning ForkFest and Female Fest in, September, because by then I will have, sort of gotten burned out on it and just be generally taking a break. But there's a lot of us working on planning Female Fest, and it's going exceptionally well. I'm tremendously looking forward to it. What am I looking for?
I have no clue.
I don't either. I don't even have a clue. I'm just flipping through it looking for some unknown thing. So, yeah. We didn't talk about anything that was actually happening in the news, or we didn't talk about a lot of it. We did talk about aliens extensively, and that would be extraterrestrial aliens, not actual human aliens, which was always interesting because, it seems to be pretty much proven fact that there are extraterrestrials. Or, let me rephrase that because I don't want to say that on the air. It seems to be a proven fact that there is unknown aerial phenomenon that is beyond human capabilities and that demonstrates pilots that are beyond the abilities of human endurance.
But we can't call them unidentified flying objects anymore.
But they are flying objects that we have not identified. So that's just the government being silly.
Well, you know, the military likes its acronyms.
They really do like their acronyms. I used to watch a lot of UFO type stuff. Everything on Netflix, don't even bother. Don't bother to look up anything on Netflix regarding UFOs. It's an abject waste of time. A lot of the times you get Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That's
the movie from the 70s?
Yeah, but that's not the movie. There was another one released in the early 2000s, I think, that was along the same lines. Except it was more about following like these four people supposedly based on true stories, as they always are, right?
Right.
And it was about people who had been abducted by extraterrestrials. And I have a condition called sleep apnea. It means I wake up, I have it particularly severely, I wake up thousands of times throughout the night. This is never enough to wake you up into consciousness. You just sort of stop breathing, and this jars you from your sleep. That's why I don't get a lot of REM sleep and things like that, and why 5 hours of sleep to me is essentially the same as 10 hours of sleep. But
you never got the machine for that?
No. It was a bit too cumbersome, and I did have the machine, but it was too cumbersome for me to regularly use. And in the end, because of where I was staying with a friend. This is not my own place. This would never, I have cats, so obviously this would never have happened. But when I did make the commitment to actually use it every single night, I opened it up and it was just covered in rat turds.
Rat? What?
Yeah. Well, not rats, mice.
Mice.
And obviously this
Close
was
enough.
not my house. I must clarify again, I have cats and they kind of prevent that from happening. But anyway, so yeah, I do have sleep apnea. But in addition to that, I somewhat regularly, about once every 3 months, experience sleep paralysis. And if you've never experienced this, I'm not going to really attempt to describe it for you, but it is the most terrifying thing you can ever experience.
That's got to be frightening.
Yeah, because you're awake enough to know that you're asleep, if that makes any sense whatsoever. You are aware of being asleep, but you cannot move, and you are still dreaming. So anything that you're dreaming about, it sends the same sensory information to your brain as if it was actually happening. And this is why I've slept and had a Grim Reaper stab me in my foot, and I felt every bit of being stabbed in the foot.
Terrifying
right?
Twice.
Yeah. And that's what sleep paralysis essentially is. And there were occasions where I, while experiencing sleep paralysis, rode in UFOs, spaceships, flying saucers through the stars. I, however, know that sleep paralysis is a thing. I've woken up and been in this condition in gigantic warehouses, Matrix style, except they weren't covered. It was just a bunch of beds and people hooked up to them. Millions of these in every single direction, and some sort of watery sounding demonic voice on an intercom cataloging human beings. I have experienced this, right? But I know that I have sleep paralysis and that I was dreaming all of these things, but I fully understand how someone who doesn't know that sleep paralysis is a thing would walk away from that believing they had just slipped into another dimension or were being abducted by aliens or whatever.
Yeah, that does explain it.
Yeah, it absolutely does. So that's what I'm convinced is the case with all of these extraterrestrial abductions and anal probing and all of that. It's sleep paralysis experienced by people who don't know that sleep paralysis is a thing. It sucks. There's a lot of really good art about it, though. Like one of my favorites is called like My Night Visitor or something like that. And it's this dude who's being attacked by a demon in his sleep, because this kind of thing happens when you're experiencing sleep paralysis.
But he thinks it's real?
No, I don't know. I don't recall now, because I think the art was actually designed in like the 17th or 16th century before there was any sort of research on that particular subject. So
okay.
I would have to look into it again. But it's very interesting stuff. And if you've never experienced it, count yourself as lucky, because it is absolutely terrifying. You do finally wake up from these things very slowly. It's such a weird experience to be awake enough to know that you're asleep, and to slowly become more and more awake and less asleep. It's a very peculiar experience. They don't happen often, though, so I do have that to be thankful for. But yeah, just be glad if you've never experienced it that you don't have to, because I'm not aware of anything that's actually more terrifying. On the last few occasions, and it's actually been about a year, really, I have not experienced sleep paralysis since I arrived in New Hampshire.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah, I doubt that's a significant fact. It's just a coincidence. I mean, there were periods where I would experience it 7 times in 3 months and then not have experienced it again for several years. So it's random. Who knows what causes it? But the last time I experienced it, I had put myself into the mentality of, once I became aware that I was sleeping, rather than allowing it to play out as it was going to, I was going to just direct it. What people call lucid dreaming, except lucid dreaming is more about awareness. It's about being aware that you're dreaming. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can take control of it consciously. Most people do once they learn that they're dreaming, but if you're engaged in sleep paralysis, you're sort of at its mercy rather than the other way around, which is an interesting concept psychologically, that I am at the mercy of the brain that creates I in the first place, right?
That is a little circular.
It is, but that's the way it is. I'm not convinced that human beings have any control whatsoever over themselves. I'm sort of...
So who's controlling us?
Our brains.
Well, who or what is controlling our brains?
Biological programming, for the most part. Complicated if-then statements. Really?
Are we all on autopilot?
I don't know if I would go as far as calling it autopilot, but biologically speaking, we are gene machines, and we do, act in accordance with our biological and genetic programming. Now, it's not beyond the realm of possibility that this biological programming created free will to perform an evolutionary service that we don't fully understand. I don't know, but the whole thing is fascinating, and I love it. This is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about Creepy Uncle Joe.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISS Paris.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. As always, you're invited to give us a call. That number is 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. Now, to clarify somebody on Twitch, no, libertarians do not believe in a state. Some lunatic Big L libertarians are monarchists and believe in a minimal state because they've, forgot how the state works. But most libertarians, small L libertarians, are also anarchists. The ones who don't contradict themselves to some degree, and it's just a matter of finding the degree of that contradiction.
Yeah, some of them actually think they can keep a state small and tiny and confined to a minimal, like they did 200 and something years ago, but we saw how that worked out.
Yeah, it did not work out well at all. So, Creepy Uncle Joe, still in the news, and he's going to be in the news for quite some time, even though he is Creepy Uncle Joe. It's amazing that anyone is still giving him any consideration whatsoever, because, he is as close as you can get to being a public child molester. Not saying he has sex with children, but he literally molests children in a creepy way. I'm not saying it's necessarily a sexual way, but if he was to touch my daughter like that, I would knock him the hell out. Former Vice President Joe Biden is the top choice for president among likely Democratic voters who are focused on the climate, according to a new poll. The online poll, probably done on Twitter, because that's where all of the actual politics happens these days. In fact, I'm going to click it. I bet it's a Twitter poll. I will be shocked if it is not. Dun, dun, dun. Nope, it's SierraClub.org. Interesting.
Where'd they commission? Well, they polled Sierra Club members?
It looks that way.
Well, obviously, most of them are going to vote Democratic.
Well, they were looking for the leading contender among Democrats, so they should poll a Democratic voter base. I can, in fact, conceive a child, Mooch.
Most people can.
He's talking about me making my statement about my daughter or whatever. I can, in fact, I have in fact gotten a girl pregnant in the past. So I am more than capable of conceiving a child. So anyway, the online poll released Monday as a collaboration between the Sierra Club and the Morning Consult limited its results to voters who said candidates' plans for the climate are an important factor in their vote. Yeah, because for some reason, we have this crazy, wacky idea that, a select group of people who have vested interests in things that do not coincide with our interests should be the ones who determine how to do anything in the environment. It's absolutely nuts.
There's a lot of money to be made in climate change.
There is, and Al Gore made a lot of that money. Oh, well, he didn't attack the climate. He attacked Man-Bear Pig. While Biden would be the top choice for 37%. Speaking of which, one of the South Park episodes from this season actually returned to Man-Bear Pig. It was interesting.
I heard something about that, but I haven't seen the episode yet.
South Park, man, they are on top of their political satire.
Yeah, they do it fast though. I mean, they produce those episodes like instantly.
Yeah,
it seems like sometimes.
I think it's 6 weeks. 6 days per episode. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times in the little making of South Park thing they did, they revealed that the episodes are finished just hours before they're aired. That's amazing.
Yeah, so something can happen in the news and they're talking about it next week on South Park.
Yeah, that's so hard to do. Yeah. So while Biden would be the top choice for 37% of climate-minded voters, Senator Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren came in second and third with 19% and 15%. So what I'm hearing from this isn't that these people believe that Joe Biden is actually a good choice for climate change. It's that climate change is one of the left's, the Democratic Party's, biggest mainstream things, right? That's their mainstream issue to target people. And the Democrats who support Joe Biden are those same mainstream Democrats. So I don't see it as being them believing that Joe Biden is good for the environment as much as it is just, correlation between mainstream Democrats wanting a mainstream candidate because of mainstream Democratic issues.
Yeah. So they're really not telling us much of anything.
No, if we were to do, plus, if we were to do a poll about, how many people who want free college would support which candidate, of course Bernie Sanders would be in the lead, right? So the results echo other national polls of Democrats, which have largely found Biden far ahead of Sanders and Warren, with the senators in a tough fight for second place. Man, if Sanders doesn't get the nomination this time, it's going to be so funny.
Yeah, I don't know. Bernie Sanders, he's getting a bit old now, isn't he?
He is. I don't know what his age is.
Of course, they're all getting old.
I want Ron Paul versus Bernie Sanders.
God, I want Ron Paul versus anybody.
Yeah, I do too, because he's still in great shape for his age.
Oh, yeah.
I believe he could finish at least one term.
Maybe two.
Maybe.
I mean, this guy went out when he was up here in New Hampshire in 2008, 2012. He'd go out jogging and exercising and bicycling every day.
Yep. Ron Paul's awesome, man. There were a lot of Ron Paul supporters who went directly from Ron Paul to Bernie Sanders.
That's odd.
It is odd, but it was especially prevalent among people in my generation. They loved Ron Paul, and then suddenly they learned they loved Bernie Sanders. That's what happens when you don't have an ideological backbone and some old white dude comes along promising to change things. We're also the same crowd that voted for Obama in 2008, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a white dude. It's just, our generation is extremely frustrated with the system as it is. We want change. Barack Obama came in going, hope and change, hope and change. So we're like, okay, well, let's have some of this. And then it didn't happen.
Oh, of course not.
So in 2012, Ron Paul came along going, hope and change, except he actually meant it and had, a long history of proving that he actually stood for change in a way that was positive for the average human being.
Yeah, but people that actually mean it don't get elected president.
They don't.
Only liars get elected president.
But then the Republican Party did everything they could, and the mainstream media participated in making sure that Ron Paul did not win or even come close to winning the Republican primary race. They pulled out some extremely dirty tricks. And then, of course, Ron Paul retired from, well, he may have intended to retire anyway, but the Republican Party retired him for him without even inviting him to their retirement for Ron Paul celebration, which is such a jerk move. They literally did this at the 2012 Republican convention. They gave Ron Paul a retirement sending off, and they didn't invite Ron Paul.
Yeah, that's a little crazy.
They said, go away. And, I mean, he did. So, I mean, he was planning to retire anyway, but it's really a screwed up move. And then Bernie Sanders came along in 2016 going, hope and change, hope and change. And these same people who went from Obama to Ron Paul went straight to Bernie Sanders because at no point in any of that juncture did they realize why Obama had been able to deceive them. And that's how they fell for Sanders. This is the Call to Freedom.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted. If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is The Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. As always, I'd like to invite you to check us out on social media. You can find us on Facebook and the Liberdon server of Mastodon by using @CallToFreedom. You can find us on Twitter by using @CTF_LRN. And you can talk to us directly on Discord by using discord.lrn.fm. Now, there's two other things that I find of interest. Coming to us from Engadget, Google's new curriculum teaches kids how to detect misinformation. Which I find to be interesting. Why does Google have curriculum in the first place?
Why are they teaching kids?
Well, evidently a few years ago, they launched an Be Internet Awesome curriculum for educators, focusing on efforts to teach children about online safety. Okay, well, that's good. This year, however, the company is adding a new component to the campaign, media literacy. Developed in partnership with the Net Safety Collaborative, the new program includes play-to-learn activities that help educate kids about how to spot disinformation, such as fake URLs or misleading headlines. Clickbait. Well, Google is like
that would actually be useful.
Google is like the prime perpetrator of clickbait. I mean, just Google any number and then anything, and Google will get you clickbait articles in the first 10 results.
Yeah, what is it?
7 ways to get cancer. 7 ways to trim your dog's nails. 9 ways to eat a hamburger. All of these will yield clickbait articles. Most of them won't even be about what you're looking for. So the curriculum includes don't fall for fake activities that are centered around teaching children critical thinking skills. This is so they'll know the difference between credible and non-credible news sources. Oh, good. So Google is going to teach your kids which news sources are credible and which ones aren't.
Oh, yeah.
And how to spot a bad URL.
Yeah, here's a bad URL. If it says FOX, or if it says BREITBART, or...
Mooch, if you get cancer from watching this stream, my apologies.
Yeah, sorry. Nothing we can do about it.
There are also media literacy activities such as Share with Care, which have to do with teaching kids how to maintain a good online reputation, and It's Cool to Be Kind, which is about online harassment. Now, I can't imagine that sort of thing is in any sense successful. You can't tell kids what is cool and what isn't. You know, they take their cues about what is cool from the older generations, from the teens.
Mm-hmm.
And to the teens, being kind has never been cool.
Yeah, never. Not in all of human history.
Along with the new curriculum, Google is announcing a nationwide partnership with the YMCA, where it will help families talk to their children about topics like social media, cyberbullying, and disinformation. Google has been under quite a bit of heat recently on this exact topic, as YouTube has often been accused of spreading disinformation and propaganda, especially to impressionable youth. It's interesting to see Google collaborate on a project that teaches children to identify disinformation, while at the same time doing a terrible job at taking these sources down. Yes, that's interesting is not the word I would use. Stupid, maybe.
Yeah. Hypocritical? I don't know. But yeah, Google search results, I don't know if you've noticed this, but it seems like their search results have gotten really terrible over the last couple of years. It's like I search for something, and I go through the first 10 results, and they're just totally irrelevant.
I have not experienced that particular problem, no.
It happens to me at least once or twice a day that I try to search for something, and just, why are you showing this unrelated crap?
Interesting. Well, YouTube certainly has lots of misinformation on it. They have a lot of stupid things. We were talking about aliens a moment ago. That's where I would recommend people go for information about UFOs and extraterrestrials and all of that. Of course, you have to do this keeping in mind that 99.9% of it is absolute crap.
Disinformation.
It is. And a lot of my friends are guilty of this, like with the spider thing that was supposedly on the Mars rock, the dinosaur bones they found on Mars, and all of these other things that were so obviously cases of pareidolia that it's
like the Starfleet logo on Mars.
I haven't seen that particular one.
That came out this weekend.
Interesting. I've got to Google
Yeah.
that now. Starfleet logo on Mars.
Yes.
Was this like a shadow or?
No, yeah, it was. You'll see when you type this in.
Oh, it's coming to us from Science Alert. Oh my goodness, it's more like the. Oh, okay. It's either the Nike check mark or the Starfleet logo. Sure. Interesting. It's a naturally occurring phenomenon of some description.
No, somebody put it there.
Somebody photoshopped it in?
No, somebody went to Mars and put it there.
Aliens. A Starfleet went there and put it there. That must be it.
Yeah, it has to be.
So I don't know much about sciencealert.com, but here on Earth, we're making big plans to send the first humans to Mars, but it looks like Starfleet may have gotten there first. Okay, so okay, good. Well, in the expense of the Hellas Planitia, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has photographed a large formation in the shape of the organization's famous logo. And it does look like the Starfleet logo.
Yeah, Starcraft logo looks a little different.
That would be way more awesome, though.
Oh, yeah.
Enterprising viewers will make the discovery that these features look conspicuously like a famous logo, wrote Ross Beyer of the University of Arizona in a statement accompanying the photo release. Sadly, it's obviously, I can't believe this has to be said, not evidence of intrepid explorers boldly going where no man has gone before. That would be awesome, though, if we finally do send a human to Mars and they, carve out the Starfleet logo there. Well, that would be awesome.
We're going to invent warp drive in, 2063?
I don't remember what year it was. That was from Up, yeah. I guess all of these Star Trek things reference that at some point. But the one I remember it from is the one where the Borg went back in time to come to Earth or whatever. Mm-hmm. That was a pretty good movie. Not the best one out there, but better than the stupid one that came out, Nemesis.
Nemesis, yeah, that was...
God, that was terrible. Anyway, so this particular chevron shapes, I'm not even sure what chevron means. Actually, there's like 4 of these shapes right here. 3 of them, rather.
Kind of an inverted V shape?
Yeah. They're not uncommon on Mars at all. They're usually the result of flow, which happened a lot on the red planet in the past, meaning water. Now, I've never seen any of these here on Earth in dried up, lake beds and water beds, but I guess...
Because they're usually plants and animals kind of moving around and disturbing.
That's true. This particular chevron is the product of a volcanic eruption at the bottom of an impact basin a long time ago. Here, the sand-formed crescent-shaped dunes, called Barkin Dunes, sculpted by the wind as the lava flowed, it parted around them. That's pretty dull and boring. But yeah, it does look like the Starfleet logo. Interesting. It's definitely not as interesting as the dinosaur bones that people thought they saw in pictures of Mars. Like, look, how stupid...
How would a dinosaur bone get to Mars? I mean, come on.
Well, clearly... they saw the asteroid coming to Earth and took a spaceship to Mars to escape it. That is clearly how dinosaurs got to Mars.
Pretty smart dinosaur.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing to me that these same people, right, who are convinced that NASA is hiding proof of extraterrestrials from the American people, right? They will also say, look at this picture released by NASA that is totally proof that there is this spider thing on Mars. Like, if this was true, if both of these things you believe are true, NASA would never have released this photograph.
Yeah, they would not. They would have suppressed that.
If there was any chance whatsoever that it could have revealed some sort of spider life form or dinosaur bones or whatever insanity these people imagine they're seeing, NASA would not release it.
Well, the conspiracy theorists, they're not at all about logic or reason or even science. They're about whatever is in their heads, and they don't pay attention to evidence that conflicts with it.
And it's literally whatever is in their head, because they look at things like the face on Mars and conclude that, aliens put some sort of face there, when it's really just pareidolia. And you tell them that, and they go, oh, no, I know I'm not being tricked by my brain. This is actually, that is a dinosaur bone. Yeah, I have to disagree. This is the call to freedom.
I have to say,
Local.bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at Local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit Local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. Local.bitcoin.com.
If you're looking for work, you know the math. There are many more applicants than openings, so you need to stand out, not blend into the blah, blah, blah your interviewer is hearing from your competition. Here's a tip. In your interview, you will be judged more by the questions you ask than the answers you give. Yes, do anticipate the obvious job interview questions and prepare concise, insightful, glass-half-full sounding responses. And you should interview your interviewer. Seem genuinely curious about what will help get results. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. You want to cut through the clutter. For more tips for job seekers and making all the other conversations you have more productive, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Is oral health important to you? If you don't like your own teeth, fresh breath, or kissing people, then by all means stop listening. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I became passionate about the product that she created and never want to live without it. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, but I find it does much more. They want you to love My Magic Mud as much as I do, so they're giving you a money-back guarantee plus 20% off. Go to mymagicmud.com and use coupon code FTL20 at checkout. mymagicmud.com, FTL20.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Tent approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And if you like the show, but you don't like the commercials, then I would like to invite you to check out our podcast. You can find that at calltofreedomlive.podbean.com. Of course, as I just alluded to, it does not include the commercials, but it's also not live, so you kind of get some good and some bad. Again, that's calltofreedomlive.podbean.com if you would like to check it out. Other interesting stuff going on. This was mostly just stupid, but I feel like it's probably a good thing to get into. So Microsoft prohibits its employees from using Slack as well as Google Docs and some other things. Are you familiar with Slack?
Slack, yeah, I've used Slack for years.
What is it?
It is a basically it's kind of a chat platform actually, where it's kind of geared toward work groups, like towards companies.
Okay.
But it's not fundamentally all that different from Discord, but it doesn't really have voice chat, really. It's just text, files, images. It's meant for collaboration, that sort of thing.
Interesting. Well, the company has banned or discouraged employees from using certain outside software and online services for their work due to concerns about IT security and protecting company secrets, said GeekWire, reporting an internal company list. So yeah, popular messaging service Slack, which just went public last week, is on the list of prohibited apps, according to the report. Microsoft is instead encouraging employees to use its Microsoft Teams and Office 365 apps. I hate Office 365 so much.
Oh, you're gonna love why they don't let their employees use Slack. It's so ridiculous.
They said that while the Slack's paid Enterprise Grid version does comply with security requirements, it's still a competitor. What is the reason why? Because I'm not...
Because the Slack app and a couple others they mentioned in here are not private enough.
Well, they said it's because they're not
Microsoft's data.
competitors.
Oh, no, it's because Microsoft doesn't like their privacy policies.
Ah, well, doesn't Microsoft have a built-in backdoor?
That's why some of these apps are banned. There's also some that they're discouraged, which means you can use them if you get like special dispensation. But
isn't there like a backdoor within the terms of service of Hotmail that allows them to check everyone's emails?
Yeah.
And read them?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, Google has the same thing, come to think of it.
But since Microsoft owns it, that's not a problem.
Right. The list also includes Grammarly, which checks spelling and grammar because the browser add-on can access the content of emails and documents, according to the report. Other Microsoft competitors' projects like Amazon Web Services and Google Docs were also discouraged for use. Now, it just makes me very happy that Microsoft has discouraged people from using Microsoft, the creators of Microsoft Office, the standard Office suite for everyone who isn't an attorney, because for whatever ungodly reason, attorneys are still using WordPerfect.
What the hell?
Yeah. Well, WordPerfect, there are still new versions of it being made, but yeah, Coral.
You've got to be kidding.
I have met very few attorneys who did not use Coral WordPerfect instead of Microsoft Office. I don't know why.
What's going on there?
I do not know. I was always curious about it as well, but it just seems to be what they trained on, what they're familiar with using, and what they're using. Maybe it's specifically suited to the kind of person who has to write extensive legal documents. I'm not sure.
That could be.
But I think in my decade of doing IT service, I only had one firm that used Microsoft Office. The rest, it was stupid freaking WordPerfect.
I didn't even know that was still out there. I thought that died out like 20 years ago.
Oh, it's still out there, being used by attorneys for some reason. I don't know, but I like Open Office. I liked Open Office back when it was Sun. Once Oracle bought it, it went downhill pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, that's why they forked it.
Yeah, why they forked it? Really?
Yeah, LibreOffice.
I will have to look into it then, because there are several small features about Office Writer, Open Office Writer now that just bother the hell out of me, like text selection. Why can't you just select the text that I'm trying to select without also drawing a freaking box around it? I know that's minor, but when you write a 1,400-page book like I did, it gets super annoying. Microsoft has this really bad habit of not allowing you to select an individual word. If you even so much as look at the space between two words, it will highlight both of them.
What is all that about?
I don't know. It started around 2013 and has persisted since. 2007 is the last version of Microsoft Office that I've actually found suitable for using and editing.
I haven't used Microsoft Office in a very long time, so I'm not up on this stuff.
I liked 2003. I don't know why they took the simple file, view, insert, edit, whatever it was, tools, and replaced it with a bunch of nondescript, tiny little labels, icons rather, that nobody can see. Oh, I need to print this. Or, oh, no, I need to add a header. Oh, well, you got to click these 5 lines up here and then go to borders and shading for some ungodly reason. It's just a complete mess. I can't imagine how they... Web browsers are the same. They're just complete messes lately. They're like, oh, we can add this feature and this feature and this feature, and nobody ever stops to go, you know what?
Is this even a good idea?
Yeah, why can't we just have a freaking web browser and a freaking word processor? I don't even want it to be a word processor. I just want it to put text where I tell it to put text. And my eye is twitching just thinking about the years and years of trouble I've had with word processors trying to do very simple things like, okay, I put this image in the middle of a document. Oh, it's slightly to the left. I need to move it to the right, and everything resets itself. Suddenly, the image is at the very end of the document, 47 pages in, and there's no way to undo it because if you press the undo button, it's going to delete 17 pages of text for some ungodly reason because it was designed by monkeys and engineers, not people who actually write.
Oh, my God. I love your rants.
That is word processing today. I hate it so much. At this point, I would rather just have a typewriter.
I know what to get you for Christmas then.
I think it would be easier to use a typewriter. I mean, honestly, at this point, it's almost easier to use like a word processor on your phone if you can swipe fast enough. Now, obviously, I actually type about 110 words a minute once I'm really going and I know what I'm about to write. Swipe cannot match that.
Oh, no. There's no way you can match that on a phone.
No, I don't even think text
not even on a tablet.
Well, I'm not even sure that text-to-speech could match that. How many words does a person speak in a minute?
Good question. I don't know.
I'm going to Google that one day when I'm bored.
One of our chatters will Google that and tell us.
Yeah. Let us know. How many words does an average... Well, I guess you have... people probably talk at different speeds, so there probably isn't a very good average.
There's probably a variety.
Yeah.
Like a range.
I mean, you have like rappers and people like that who can just talk extremely quickly. Auctioneers, another example. Except most of the stuff they say aren't actually words, is it? They're just making noises with their mouths.
Auctioneers?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't either. I'm not sure how this works. And I don't care enough to actually Google it. But yeah, so Microsoft doesn't want people to use Google Docs. I do find the word processing of Google Docs to be sufficient for my tasks. The autosave feature is particularly nice, as is the cloud saving. I mean, back in the day, when I wrote my first book, I was still in high school. And the only way to do this, because I wrote it on several computers at school and my computer at home, was to save it onto a floppy disk. Okay?
Remember floppy disks?
As a rich text format document. Because it would...
RTF. Ooh.
Yeah. Because it would be Office 2003 here, Office XP there, and for whatever reason, they didn't all like to talk to each other using the .doc format.
Yeah, Office versions weren't even compatible with each other back then.
Yeah, it was such a bad time. Floppy disk, man. Now, of course, you could...
RTF.
That's one thing I like about this whole cloud thing is that now you can just save it to the cloud and, you don't have to move it from one computer to the other. Of course, if I'm writing, then I'm sitting at home on my desktop anyway. But, that's because my laptop is broken. If my laptop wasn't broken, then Google Docs would be perfect. My laptop isn't even broken. It just needs a new LCD, and I just cannot be bothered to do it. I should, really. But I don't have any real need for it. I don't need a laptop.
What would you do with one if you had one?
I don't know. My phone does almost everything that I would need a laptop to do. The only difference is it doesn't have a full-size keyboard. I do have one of those little Bluetooth keyboards, though, with actual keys. Yeah, but you still have to use your thumbs because they're like...
Oh, is it one of those tiny ones?
Oh, yeah.
There's some that fold up. They're fold up and fold out into a full-size keyboard.
That's true. This is the Call to Freedom. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,399. Silver at $15.33, and Bitcoin is trading at $10,409. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, just hours after he brought the United States to the brink of war Thursday night by approving a military strike against Iran. President Donald Trump abruptly called off the attack before any missiles were fired. That's according to the New York Times, which reported that as late as 7 o'clock Thursday night, military and diplomatic officials were expecting a strike after intense discussions and debate at the White House among the president's top national security officials and congressional leaders. The Mind Unleashed reports that Iranian officials on Friday said Tehran received a message from Trump through Oman overnight, warning that a U.S. attack on Iran was imminent. Citing anonymous senior administration officials involved in or briefed on the plan to attack Iran, the Times reported it's not clear whether Trump simply changed his mind on the strikes or whether the administration altered course because of logistics or strategy. It was also not clear whether the attacks might still go forward. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Although the laws on the books are only rarely and selectively enforced, it's technically federally illegal to host a rave, thanks to Joe Biden. The Mind Unleashed reports that anyone involved with hosting a rave can be held legally and criminally responsible for anything illegal that takes place inside the party, thanks to a piece of legislation called the Reducing Americans' Vulnerability to Ecstasy, or RAVE Act. The bill was a pet project of then-Senator Joe Biden, and it became law in 2003. as rave culture was beginning to go mainstream in the U.S.
If I were governor of my state or mayor of my town, I would be passing new ordinances relating to stiff criminal penalties for anyone who held a rave. The promoter, the guy who owned the building. I would put the son of a gun in jail. I would change the law.
The bill was extremely unpopular and was struck down the first 2 times it was up for vote. Eventually, proponents of the bill changed its name to the Illicit Drug Anti-Proliferation Act, and they attached it to the Amber Alert Bill, an entirely unrelated piece of legislation that proposed the establishment of a warning system for missing children. The separation of church and state in the United States has taken yet another blow, this time in Alabama. Republican Governor Kay Ivey has signed legislation allowing a Presbyterian church to perform state-like functions by establishing its own police force for its churches and schools. The law, which was approved during the most recent legislative session, permits the Birmingham-based Briarwood Presbyterian Church to establish a private law enforcement agency that would have the power to make arrests if crimes are committed on church grounds or on its private school campuses. Unleashed reports that officials at the church claim that such a private police force is needed to secure the church and the 2,000 students and faculty on the 2 private school campuses that it owns and operates. The law, set to come into effect this fall, allows the church to deploy the private law enforcement agency in the 2 counties where the church has its facilities, and grants the police the powers typically restricted to public police agencies. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
This is the Onion Week in Review. According to sources, all 6.5 million residents of Indiana spontaneously formed thousands of perfectly uniform rows throughout the state Monday morning and established a collective consciousness. Saying, "We are Indiana," the new hive mind talked and moved in unison, with citizens working together to build a massive geometric superstructure in downtown Indianapolis where they would gather to sleep, breed, and feed.
All corners for Indiana. All corners for Indiana.
The collective state went on to report that soon Ohio, Illinois, Michigan, Kentucky, and Canada would all become Indiana. Persons close to Phoenix area friends Jake Welter and Mike Seflin confirmed Friday that the 2 men are absolutely incapable of greeting each other like normal human beings.
Beep, 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 beep.
Sources say the 2 full-grown men simply cannot walk into a room and shake each other's hands, relying instead on elaborate dances, forced pop culture references, and extended fake fighting. Neither Welter nor Seflin was available for comment as they were busy pretending to rip each other's faces off.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. And, you know, we've been talking a bit about Democratic presidential candidates. Evidently, O'Rourke, I guess is his name.
Beto O'Rourke?
Yeah, he wants to impose a war tax to help veterans by taxing families who don't have kids out there, you know, shooting at other people's kids to pay for war.
That's really nice of him. So let me get this clear. So he wants to tax the people who don't go to war because they don't go to war.
Yes, it would seem so. So it's this weird mechanism to help veterans. It means that before we go to war again, after we've ended the wars we're already in, we're going to make sure we understand the full cost and consequence of going into those wars, he told MSNBC. Now, I would like to believe that is true, but the full cost of war isn't a monetary concern.
No, it's all the dead people you leave behind and all the broken people that come back.
How much money does it actually take to outweigh all of those dead people? He says he wants to make sure that we've set aside a fund, a veterans trust fund. Yeah, because that worked so well when the government did it with Social Security, that will help pay for the care of those who have won the battle in those wars. It might make America pause before we enter that next war because we fully realize the full cost of waging them. Yeah, but the full cost of waging them, again, is not a monetary thing.
Yeah, it's measured in lives, not dollars.
His plan would create a fee that households without military members would have to pay. The revenue from the war tax would go into a trust fund for veterans created at the beginning of each future war, according to his proposal. This is the Democratic Party, what used to be the anti-war party, at least for a few days anyway.
They're only anti-war when the Republicans are in office.
But he is openly saying,
sometimes
look,
not even then.
The issue with war is that it's expensive. What happened to the anti-war movement in the United States? I mean, I know it still exists among us anarchists and libertarians, right?
Right.
Because we actually oppose war.
Yeah, and actual libertarians run literally antiwar.com.
But he doesn't oppose war. He opposes unfunded war, I guess.
I guess I kind of sort of see where he's coming from. Like he's saying we should have money set aside to care for veterans who come back and are injured or suffering from PTSD or whatever.
I would generally agree.
But, we've already got the VA, and it's
not doing very
terrible.
well. Yeah. So households making less than $30,000 per year would pay $25, presumably a year.
Presumably,
he doesn't specify.
Is it $25 a year, a month, a war, a person?
The Hill has not specified. Strangely enough, and then they break down the numbers a bit more. People making more than $200,000 would pay $1,000. Now, this is actually a bit weighted because most households making less than $30,000 per year would, in fact, have some, 17-year-old kid who wants to go to college and can't afford to, so he joins the military and comes back with PTSD and half a leg.
Yeah.
So that family probably would not be paying the $25 per whatever, and the family making more than $200,000 in a year is just going to use I Have Clubfoot or whatever Donald Trump did to get him out of, actually having to fight in a war.
Not having to pay that $25 is certainly just compensation for having your kid come back without his legs.
Absolutely. I'm so glad I was able to save that $25 by sending my kid to shoot at brown people in Iran.
You sure this isn't the Babylon Bee?
Nope, this is the Hill. This is an actual Democratic candidate wanting to tax families for not being especially exuberant about sending their kids to die.
Oh, God.
The dumb thing about the war tax is making it universal, which is also presumably the whole shared sacrifice point of it. New Republic staff writer Alex Perrine tweeted, oh my God, I die inside every time I read the word tweeted. Or even worse, took to Twitter.
Took to Twitter.
Because that phrase, it's so common.
I don't take to Twitter, but part of that is because I only have 9 followers.
I take to Twitter via Telegram, but that's it. I don't even have the Twitter application installed on my phone. I'm not even sure what my Twitter information is.
Yeah, me either.
I don't have to know. Telegram handles that for me.
I have far more followers on Mastodon.
Or rather, IFTTT, 3 T's, handles that for me.
If this, then that.
Yeah. I don't really use Mastodon as much as I should. I don't have any idea how many since having to replace my other phone, I didn't install Tusky to it because the process is a little bit convoluted about joining a particular federated server. It's not as simple as someone like me would like it to be for simple social media. I just want to go there and post a thing and be done with it. But luckily, I don't have to actually worry about that because
you just text into a channel and IFTTT picks it up and sends it everywhere.
Yep, it's super convenient. Like an actually good war tax would raise the top marginal rate 10 points for each new war. Hold on, I don't even understand what that was supposed to mean.
Yeah, what?
Co-host of the political podcast Chapo Trap House, Virgil Texas, What?
What even is that?
Chapo Trap House, Virgil, Texas.
I'm pretty sure Virgil, Texas is like a town. I think.
I have no idea what that's supposed to mean. He said no. Okay, I don't know why. Oh, see, in speaking of taking to Twitter, that's what, The Hill has done here, and they just simply screenshotted a bunch of people's tweets and posted them in their article, and then, wrote what those people tweeted underneath the screenshot where they screenshotted what those people freaking tweeted. Because what is journalism except taking screenshots of other people's freaking tweets?
Yeah,
I really need a mute box. It's so hard when I start ranting about the absurdity of Twitter and modern journalism not to start dropping F-bombs.
Yeah, journalism kind of jumped the shark. What can you do?
That's all this article is, though. It's just a bunch of screenshots of tweets.
Yeah,
and then them explaining what is in the tweets that they literally put a screenshot of.
I think those are actually embeds rather than screenshots, but I could be wrong.
They may, yeah. Which is even easier. You don't even have to hit the screenshot button.
Yeah, I mean, why are they double quoting the tweet in the first place?
Well, because they're lazy. It doesn't even, the article doesn't even end. It does. It ends with the freaking word tweeted. I swear to God, that's the last word in this article. Looking forward to the Raytheon CEO considering his home budget, seeing that he only has $17 million annually to cover the $1,000 war tax, and realizing that forever war is bad, and so calling up Congress right quick to stop it. He tweeted.
Yeah, the Raytheon CEO is not gonna miss $1,000.
No, but I mean, all of that aside, that is the literal end of the article.
He tweeted.
And then there is an embed of his freaking tweet. That's not journalism.
That's quoting people.
That's being a social media aggregate site.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what social media is in the first place. If you want to know what people are saying about the war tax thing on Twitter, then take to Twitter and,
look for the hashtag war tax.
Is it hashtag war tax?
I bet there is by now.
I bet there is too.
Don't.
Yeah, Can we not? Oh, there is zero chance I'm about to pull up Twitter. Do not worry about that. But that is literally how the article just ends. It doesn't offer anything of substance. It's just a collection of people's tweets and then them saying what is in that tweet. It's a copy and paste of various tweets and then embeds of those tweets. That's the whole freaking article.
Welcome to journalism.
So The Hill took to Twitter to write an article about Twitter and what people were saying on Twitter about Twitter. And I hate Twitter so much. This is the call to freedom.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to SaveItPurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveItPurse.com.
Free Talk Live.
Good evening, Mark and Ian.
Hey, it's Scott the Bigot. What's on your mind tonight, Scott?
I know that America is in dire straits, and I know that the whole rotten Zionist-occupied government is going to collapse very soon.
When was the last time you went out and socialized with other human beings?
I get the pulse of the people, and I get the pulse of what's going on in this country.
How can you get the pulse of anything if you're cloistered within your apartment?
I know what's going on.
I mean, are you even getting out amongst other white separatists?
Yeah, wait, in a minute.
Is that your mom?
Wait a minute.
No, listen, it's 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
I want it now.
So, gentlemen.
Who is that?
Yeah, you go loud.
Wait, is that your mother?
Yeah, I take care of her.
How old are you, by the way?
49.
Is your mom as bigoted and nasty towards other human beings as you are?
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And of course, I'm a big fan of psilocybin cubensis. That's magic shrooms for those people who call them that for some reason. I usually just call them shrooms. I mean, really, it's simpler. But I'm a big fan. I think they're wonderful. And Denver became the first city, I believe, to decriminalize them. Huge quotation marks around decriminalize.
Right.
Because they didn't actually decriminalize anything. They simply made it a low priority issue for police in the city of Denver.
Yeah, decriminalize doesn't mean actually decriminalize. It means they reduce the penalties.
Yes. So but the city of Denver appears to be abiding by the will of the voters. Between May the 16th and June the 18th, or the month or so after magic mushrooms were decriminalized, the Denver Police Department made 0 psilocybin-related arrests.
Okay.
Now, that sounds great, but how common are psilocybin-related arrests in the first place?
Hey, there's a good question. I don't know.
They don't say, but I can't imagine it's one a month. I would imagine it would be closer to maybe 1 or 2 per year, and even that would probably be extreme.
Yeah, I don't hear about psilocybin arrests much at all.
No, I don't think I've ever heard about anyone being arrested for it. That's great news, said Kevin Matthews. That's exactly the number I was hoping they would say. Now, he's the guy who led Decriminalize Denver, the campaign to make possession, consumption, and growth of psychedelic mushrooms a low law enforcement priority. Now, I've since learned it is, in fact, legal in the state of New Hampshire, and this is federally as well, to cultivate your own shrooms.
At home?
Yes. as long as you don't intend to consume them.
Okay.
Or distribute them, obviously.
So why would you cultivate them?
Because they're pretty. That is exactly why I'm going to cultivate them, Michael, because they are pretty.
They're pretty?
And absolutely
decorative garden?
And I'm not going to cultivate them for absolutely any other reason. It's just because they're pretty, and I think they will just look gorgeous filling the backyard.
All right. Photos for Instagram. Then.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's just photos for Instagram.
All right.
So, from 2016, and you can even buy kits to do this for like $40 on Amazon. That's got the spores actually, it's probably more expensive than $40 for the ones that includes the spores. But yeah, it's basically just a thing. You pop it, and boom, the spores fly out, and then they do their little
all flies out.
They do their magical little thing, and then look, you got pretty mushrooms to look at, and absolutely no other reason. From 2016 to 2018, the Denver Police Department arrested about 50 people per year. Okay, well, thanks for those numbers, for psilocybin-related offenses. That's still about one a week. So I imagine there probably were month-long periods where they didn't arrest anyone, especially during the winter.
Yeah, let's see it. Let's see if they stay at 0 next month.
And of the 9,000-plus drug cases filed in Denver between 2016 and 2018, only 3 led to charges for possession with intent to manufacture or distribute. So, only 3 people in the from 2016 to 2018 were actually charged for possession of psilocybin, even though there were about 50 arrests per year. I imagine that in most cases, when the police do pull you over or whatever and they find, shrooms in your possession, that they probably do just throw them away.
It could be. I'm not a cop, so I don't know what cops do.
I can't imagine it's really worth their time, right?
Yeah. Well, not in Denver.
No, Rev, I'm referring specifically to the state of New Hampshire. It is absolutely legal to grow shrooms as long as you do not intend to consume them. It may not be federally legal, but
who cares?
Yeah, New Hampshire doesn't have a particularly long history of assisting the federal government in the first place.
Yeah, that's true.
So not very many people getting arrested and charged in Denver in the first place, but the Denver City Attorney's Office is still analyzing the ballot language and will present its findings to law enforcement and the mayor's office. We're set to hear expert input in coming weeks to understand what personal use and possession with intent to distribute should mean under the law. God, that is such an attorney thing to say.
Yeah.
We can't figure out what personal use means.
You're a lawyer and you can't figure out what common English... Well, you're a lawyer. That's why you can't figure out what common English words mean.
We have to bring in experts to tell us what intent to distribute means. Oh, my God.
Yeah, first thing we do, let's kill all the lawyers.
Yeah, well, yes, I would agree. Well, not Tom Gray, but most lawyers, because most of them, most people in the state are attorneys. The reason they're interpreting this law this way is because they're the jackasses who are writing the law. But Matthew says that voters passed an initiative that specifically does not quantify personal use. We have no right to say what an amount for personal use looks like, and the city shouldn't set those limits. We're prepared to litigate if necessary, but we don't want it to go there.
Oh, I see. They're arguing about an amount of mushrooms.
That seems to be the case.
That would count as personal use versus. So what they're saying here is that if you have a specific amount or more than a specific amount of shrooms on you, that it's automatically you have, quote, intent to distribute.
Matthews and other campaign representatives have been working with the city, including the Denver Police Department. Well, there's your problem. And city attorney and district attorney's offices to implement the initiative. Now, why does this have to be implemented? Why can't cops just start leaving people alone about their freaking shrooms that aren't hurting anyone? Has anyone ever died from shrooms?
Not that I've ever heard of.
Not that I've ever heard of either, but I'm going to Google it right now because this is the internet, and I'm having a really hard time typing this out while talking, but I'm not aware of anyone ever dying from psilocybin cubensis.
Yeah, that would be huge news if it happened.
Well, according to DesertHopeTreatment.com,
Never heard of
that's
them.
correct. They asked the question, can you die from taking too many psychedelic mushrooms? Psychedelic shrooms, also known as magic mushrooms or just shrooms, which is what I prefer to call them, refer to mushrooms that contain a wonderful little chemical called psilocybin. When ingested, the drug produces hallucinations, changes in mood and perception, euphoria, and altered thinking processes. These are all reasons it should be legal. You can overdose on mushrooms, but you are not likely to die. Still, an overdose or bad trip can be a difficult experience. So, it doesn't seem you can die from shrooms.
Well, that's good news.
They say you can overdose, but you're not likely to die. Sure, and I understand why they would say, look, you can't overdose on shrooms. I would be hesitant to say that as well, but it unlikely is a hedging of bets.
Yeah.
That's what we say when we don't want to get sued because little Bobby down the street ate 600 pounds of shrooms and then died.
Yeah, somebody will manage to do it eventually.
Now, poisonous mushrooms can be fatal, certainly, but that's unrelated. If we legalize the things and you could just walk into the corner store and buy yourself some shrooms, you wouldn't have to worry about eating something that was fatal. This is the call to freedom.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring Simon to the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait, now. Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me.
What
am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is The Call to Freedom. You know, we libertarians and anarchists, we talk a lot about providing for charity without a state telling us to, and I found a wonderful opportunity for people to do exactly that. Coming to us out of Sierra Leone is the Kids Compassion Charity, currently helping build wells in villages, give printed materials for school children, teach them to code so that they can lift themselves up out of poverty. And these are real people on the ground who are helping other real people. They accept cryptocurrency, PayPal, and other forms of donations, and you can contribute at kidscompassioncharity.com. So go check that out and click the donate button. The person who runs it is Mustafa Cole, a friend of the show. He was actually on the show with us a few weeks ago. Go check it out. There's not much reason not to. And we've been talking about shrooms here, always one of my more favorite subjects, because evidently Denver has had 0 arrests since the passing of the decriminalization initiative, which didn't actually decriminalize them. I mean, obviously, if they were actually decriminalized, then the number of arrests would, by definition, be 0, unless the cops were doing illegal stuff, which wouldn't be the first time. But all that aside, it raises the question of overdosing on shrooms, and I don't remember how we got to overdosing on shrooms.
I think it was in that original article.
Or it was just, a rabbit hole that my brain went down.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened is that we were talking about the relative safety of shrooms versus other drugs like alcohol.
Cannabis, alcohol.
Well, people don't overdose on cannabis either, as far as I'm aware. So
people don't die from cannabis.
Okay, sure. Fair point. Because you can also overdose on cannabis.
Yeah, all you have to do is eat a whole bunch of edibles.
Yeah, and then pass the hell out.
And you'll have a bad day. You'll think you're dying, but you'll be fine.
Well, I imagine you would just pass out, wouldn't you?
Maybe.
I would expect passing out at that point. So evidently, psilocybin cubensis doesn't actually kill people, or at least they didn't, refer to anyone dying of overdose. Here are some overdose symptoms: anxiety and panic attacks. Yeah. Vomiting and diarrhea. I don't know. Agitation, paranoia, psychosis, all bad things. I don't know why they're not lumped in with anxiety and panic attacks, but whatever. Seizures and coma.
Okay, that's getting a little risky there. So.
Yeah, they do have a link here. I want to find it. It's coming to us from the Alcohol and Drug Foundation. Oh, this is going to be great. So the Alcohol and Drug Foundation, that name just doesn't sound good. It is not. Effects of magic mushrooms. Bolded, there is no safe level of drug use.
Oh, it's one of those sites. Huh?
Use of any drug always carries some risk. It's important to be careful when taking any type of drug. Magic mushrooms can affect everyone differently based on, size, weight, the number taken, or even the dosage in individual shrooms. It's going to vary pretty considerably. The effects usually begin about 30 minutes after being eaten, or within 5 to 10 minutes when taken as a soup or tea, and can last for approximately 4 to 6 hours. I'm smiling just thinking about them. During this time, the person may experience euphoria and well-being, change in consciousness, mood, thought, and perception, all positive things that, we should encourage in human beings.
Yeah, they're doing a pretty good job selling this.
They said commonly called a trip. That's incorrect. I don't think there is a term for the change in consciousness, thought, and perception that results from psilocybin cubensis. Then they add perceptual changes such as visual and auditory hallucinations. That's the trip. That's when people talk about tripping, that's the kind of thing they're referring to. They're not talking about,
feeling good.
I guess they are to an extent talking about like laying outside on the parking lot going, I am one with the universe.
I got a picture of you doing that.
I was passed out at that
you were
point.
passed out. Okay, never mind.
Well, I was temporarily passed out. There is a picture of that, though. Overdose. The use of mushrooms may result in any life... Okay, sorry. The use of magic mushrooms rarely results in any life-threatening symptoms. Now, these people... Remember, they just started out this little section by saying there is no safe level of psilocybin cubensis mushrooms. So these people don't like people doing shrooms.
They don't seem to like people doing any kind of drugs.
But the very first thing they say in regard to overdoses is rarely results in any life-threatening symptoms. If a large amount or a strong batch is consumed, the person may experience... They gave the exact same list of side effects, and then they linked to something else. So give me one moment while I find the something else to which they linked.
God, now we're chasing links down a rabbit hole.
We are indeed.
Are we ever going to find the real source of this?
Well, it's from Drugs and Drug Abuse, 3rd edition, by Brands and Spruill and Marshman for the Addiction Research Foundation, and I would bet this is not going to be publicly available information. Oh, but it is. But it's a freaking book that I don't have time to read while on the air. Maybe I can do a quick search for
coma. See what happens.
Oh yeah, good idea. Coma. Only 12 references. Good. So it's a lot of fear mongering, but the only real problem here is coma. And when they talk about coma, do they mean like permanent coma? Or do they mean like you could pass out for like 6 hours and wake up and be like, man, what the hell happened?
That was a great trip.
So, coming to us from About Shrooms, effects are felt after about half an hour, last several hours, include sensations of relaxation, separation from surroundings, heaviness or lightness. Larger doses produce perceptual distortions, dizziness, abdominal discomfort. Yeah, that is true.
And coma?
Numbness of the mouth. I've never felt my mouth going numb from shrooms, but whatever. Nausea, shivering, yawning, flushing, and sweating. I've never experienced that. There are no known deaths caused by overdose.
That's what we got in this textbook?
Yes.
No known deaths caused by psilocybin overdose. Okay.
Flashbacks may occur. See LSD below, something I've never experienced. And I've had some bad trips, but maybe I'm just lucky like that. I've Googled the word coma, and I'm not seeing it anywhere in relation to psilocybin cubensis.
Oh, well, where did these sites get this from then?
It mentions PCP, obviously.
I'd expect you to.
We do not encourage the usage of PCP on the Call to Freedom.
You don't want to go. You don't want to go there. That's some really bad stuff.
I'm going to keep looking, but going to the codeine, coma, oxycodone, coma, PCP, coma, barbiturates, coma. There is absolutely no reference in this book, not one reference about shrooms causing coma.
So,
but that is one. That's 2 organizations now
that apparently pulled this out of thin air.
Straight out of thin air. And this is why we trace things back to the source, right? It's extremely important to do that because we have it right here at publications.gc.ca /collection/collection /H39-65-2000E.pdf. There is absolutely no reference whatsoever to comas in regard to psilocybin cubensis.
Even though that's where you got in this little link tracking down.
And that is both the what did ADF, the Alcohol and Drug Foundation and the Desert Hope American Addiction Centers, both of which have said that the worst effect you can experience from shrooms includes coma.
Yeah, so where did they get that from?
They completely misconstrued something that, you know where they got it from? Fear-mongering BS that they didn't expect anyone to actually look into. Well, I'm Arietta Meso, and I like my shrooms. So I looked into it, and shrooms, I'm going to say here and now, there is no evidence that any amount of eating shrooms will kill you or put you in a coma.
Yeah, and I like calling out fake things on the internet.
And that's fake news from Desert Hope and the Alcohol and Drug Foundation. So, shrooms, not dangerous.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And if you really like the show, then maybe you would like to check us out on Patreon. You can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/Call to Freedom. Our wonderful sponsors there, including David Jeffries and Leah Hoffman, are currently helping to keep the show up and running, and we can't thank them enough for showing their support. Once more, that's patreon.com/Call to Freedom if you would like to check it out. Now we're talking about my most favoritist of subjects, psychedelics. I do love psychedelics. And this rabbit hole that we went, that started with Denver decriminalization and ended up with one website that linked to another website, which linked to an article, a study alleging that although shroom deaths are unlikely, they were not impossible.
And supposedly coma is one of the side effects of overdosing on shrooms.
Yes. So we traced that back to the original study, and they did not use the word coma in any way related to psilocybin cubensis.
We read the whole list of side effects straight out of the textbook that you found, and
we did. It's 64 pages long. There are 12 mentions of the word coma, one of which is the word glaucoma. So it's entirely unrelated.
Yeah, glaucoma is something else entirely.
And absolutely no mentions of shrooms causing coma. But that hasn't stopped the Alcohol and Drug Foundation or Desert Hope Treatment from asserting it. So, coma appears to be the worst side effect from overdosing on shrooms, which makes me think that, what they're actually referring to there is just passing the hell out. Well, there is another one here. Hold on. Time out. They linked 2 places. So to do our due diligence, we need to check the other one. It's page 175. Give me one moment here.
Yeah, if the other one
it's not going to be available, is it?
I don't think this one will either.
They've got the abstract here, but can I actually get the entire article? Yeah, here it is.
Sometimes you can, sometimes no.
It looks like it's not going to work. Or unless their server is really slow. It says it's another stupid abstract. I don't want the abstract. I want the whole article.
Yeah, the whole...
the internet is so useless sometimes. It's from February 2005. I'm going to go out on a limb here, though, and suggest...
it's probably not there.
$36 to access this article. I am not paying $36 to be told something I already know.
If you want us to spend $36 to tell you what we already know, go hit us up on Patreon.
Yeah, so even if they manage to find some weird definition of coma that includes somebody passing out from eating too many shrooms, it's going to be buried in a gated... What is that website where you can get these sort of paid scholarly articles for free?
I used to know this.
I'm spacing on the name.
It's out there. If you, I just search Google Scholar, and usually I find a copy of whatever I'm looking for.
So, moving on, I'm going to continue saying that coma is not a possible side effect from eating shrooms.
It's unlikely.
But to be fair, they did link to 2 studies, one of which didn't use the word coma at all.
Yeah, not in citation given.
But there is a second citation that is gated behind a $36 fee that I am not going to pay for one paragraph on one page in a 200-page article.
Yeah, not happening.
So, bad trips. Sometimes a person may experience the negative effects of magic shrooms and have what is called a bad trip and may experience the following. Now, that's not true. That is so not how any of this works. The effects of shrooms are neither positive nor negative. They simply amplify what is already there. If you have problems with anxiety like I do, then there will be times when, because of where your psychology is in that particular moment, that you have a bad trip. This is not the shrooms' fault. This is a flaw within your own psychology that you are taking shrooms to literally help you address.
Yeah, so the shrooms are just bringing that out.
Yeah, this is all about pulling back the veil of your psyche and studying and facing and accepting what is underneath in a very Campbellian sense. So if you're finding things there that are dark and depressing and make you anxious, then those are things you need to work on.
Yeah.
After ingesting magic mushrooms, delayed headaches may occur, which do not last for longer than a day afterwards. I've never had a headache from shrooms. I have from acid, but I've never had one for shrooms.
Yeah, I've never heard of anyone having a headache from shrooms.
After taking shrooms, a person may experience feelings of exhaustion, depression, and anxiety. Again, these are the reasons that people will take shrooms. They may be exhausted, but depression? I don't know.
Yeah, where there wasn't already depression?
Yeah. Some people who regularly use shrooms may experience flashbacks. I've never experienced one of these. I'm not sure how convinced I am that they're even real. Maybe in the case of acid.
Yeah, maybe they're getting LSD mixed up with this.
A flashback is when a shroom experience reoccurs. They are usually visual distortions that involve perceptual or emotional changes. Well, those sound like positive things. Flashbacks can occur weeks, months, or even years after the drug was last taken. This can be disturbing, especially if a frightening experience or hallucination is recalled. Flashbacks can be brought on by using other drugs. Now, look, when I went outside once upon a time, allegedly on shrooms, and I looked and I saw mysterious cloaked figures menacingly staring at me while I was on shrooms, every time I go outside at night, I do recall that experience.
That's not a flashback. That's a memory.
It is a memory. So are they asserting here that someone in such a position might go outside to smoke one night and might not simply remember, but relive that experience? Is that what they're asserting?
I guess. This sounds like it was written by people who have absolutely no experience with drugs.
Yeah, I don't see that as being likely. Oh, using mushrooms with other drugs. Interesting. Magic mushrooms plus ice or speed or ecstasy. Why did you loop those? Why did you pile those three things in together?
Yeah, those. One of these things is not like the others.
It's not at all like them. Ice and speed are completely different things from ecstasy. It can increase the chances of a bad trip and can also lead to panic. I would not recommend taking ecstasy with shrooms. I wouldn't recommend doing it with LSD either, even though that's called candy flipping and is relatively common, and I've done it before. I still would not recommend it because it doesn't work the way you would expect it to. It's like whichever one you dosed harder tends to win out, but you sort of fluctuate between the trip experience and the ecstasy experience. You don't actually experience both simultaneously or anything. The walls aren't moving while simultaneously just being extremely vibrant. And you're filling with, warm, fuzzy feelings and want to hug everyone simultaneously. It's not the way it works. Mushrooms plus psychiatric medications. Oh, dear God, I can't imagine how bad that would be. I used to be on antidepressants, right? And I took care to deliberately stop taking them like at least 2 weeks before I knew I was going to be taking MDMA. Because
those could interact.
Yeah, that's a recipe for death. I don't know how bad it would be, but serotonin overdose, probably, or dopamine overdose, whichever it is. I don't recall.
Either way, you're just as dead.
The main risk involved with taking shrooms is that some of them look very much like certain types of poisonous mushrooms. Yes, that's all the more reason to legalize them so that people can grow them and sell them in stores. You don't have to worry about it when you buy mushrooms to put in your spaghetti from Shaw's or Market Basket or Walmart or wherever you buy mushrooms from. You don't have to worry that they're going to accidentally sell you poisonous ones.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
So why do you have to worry about it in regard to psilocybin mushrooms? Well, because they're illegal.
Jackass made them illegal.
Because there are people out there who are not cultivating them and who are simply crawling through the fields in order to find them, or through the woods here in New England, because that's where they grow here on rotten trees, apparently. Not under cow patties, but in the South they grow under cow patties. There are people out there crawling around through the fields looking for them, and they may indeed find some that are not shrooms, that look very much like shrooms.
But they're poisonous.
Yeah, but if it was legal, for people to just grow their own, you wouldn't have to worry about it, because you would know that the spores you were growing, or the spores you were buying at the store, or the shrooms that you were buying at the store were all 100% real. Don't go anywhere. This has been the Call to Freedom, but Free Talk Live is coming up next.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN